Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Cabral HouseCalls, where each and every weekend we join together going over our community's questions and being able to really help as many people as we can find the health answers that have been eluding them. So one of the nice things about this show in particular, I feel, is that I never know the individual questions that will be coming in. So what I do is I open up the giant pages document that my team has assembled for me, and we take it right from the top. So this is just as if someone was calling in over a radio show, if radio shows are even existing anymore, or, we were to speak together live at a conference. So that's really what I try to keep it. I try to keep it as an unbiased, just my personal experience being in clinical practice now for many years, working with many hundreds of thousands of people, and sharing hopefully some of that experience and some of those clinical benefits that we've seen with you. So that is the goal of each and every Cabral House Call. We usually get to 6 questions on Saturdays, 6 questions on Sundays from our community. And I would say that we are pretty much, it looks like 6 weeks behind. We're typically 4 to 6 weeks in the queue as to when your question comes in from StephenCabral.com/ask Cabral. The more questions that come in, the longer the queue, the less that come in that week. Well, we sometimes catch up just a little bit. So the first question today is coming in from Lauren, and that was written in on July 30th. So this show is coming out on August 29th. So about 5 weeks or so behind, I guess, or just about 4 weeks behind. So that's not too bad. So what I'd love to be able to do is, again, dive into these questions, get to as many as possible. And thank you for joining me once again on the show. So let's get right into the first question from Lauren. Lauren writes in, Dr. Cabral, please help. My 4.5-year-old daughter has just recently developed body odor, some darker hair growth on the top of her lips and legs, a random long hair in the middle of her forehead, and now she has perioral eczema. I am concerned the hair growth may be signs of early hormonal changes, although I should mention she has half, so not sure how much genetics play a part in hair growth. Before all of this, she had rough chicken skin since a baby and almost constant bloating, both of which have cleared up since completing the children's parasite protocol, children's CBO with mastic gum, and is almost finished with the Heal and Seal. Now this eczema on her face makes me think I may need to do some testing on her gut. Previous to these protocols, she tested high IgG for egg and moderate relief to 16 other foods. Have not retested yet. She eats very well, lots of whole foods, almost completely organic, gluten-free, and the only dairy we have is butter. I am looking for advice on where to go from here. I'm very worried about what is going on with her little body. I'm an IHP and student naturopath, but never imagined I'd be practicing on my own children already, and this makes me nervous as they are such precious little souls. Would love your thoughts. Okay, Lauren, happy to help with this, and you're already on the right track. So let's talk about a couple things. When we look at gut-based issues, and I've talked about chicken skin before in the back of the arm, so definitely check out that podcast if you'd like. Little red bumps in the back of the arms, chicken skin in the back of the arms. So here's the thing. When you see 16 plus food sensitivities, you're almost always looking at a intestinal permeability, leaky gut-based issue. Just went over how to heal leaky gut on a previous podcast just a couple weeks back. You can certainly just type that into StephenCabral.com/podcast, and for sure, you'll be able to find that show for digestion as well. Okay, so I'm really happy to hear that most is cleared up doing the Parapro support protocol, the CBO protocol, mastic gum, etc. Now, the thing with eczema is that it's oftentimes food sensitivity based. So I really can't recommend enough that we remove all dairy sources, all gluten sources, and all egg for right now. Okay, those are the most common ones for eczema. So If you don't know specifically, well, just eliminate them for a month. That's it. And again, there's so many alternatives, right? I mean, it's not like it's difficult to find a milk alternative such as a almond milk or coconut milk if you want to try those out. Of course, just keep in mind people have random sensitivities to certain ones as well. So it's always a possibility. Now, if you really wanted to go full tilt to figure out exactly what it is, you could do the sensitive gut guide, which I know that you got as part of the CBO protocol. And you would do that for 3 weeks, basically cutting out nuts and seeds and dairy and grains. And then you would reintroduce them one at a time and you'd be able to find out kind of what's kicking up the eczema. Okay, so that's a great place to start right there. You're doing great overall. She'll be done with the CBO finisher soon. And of course, you could retest, if needed, if you chose to. Just wait 16 weeks total, or just wait 3 to 4 weeks after the protocol is done. Okay, hair growth and body odor. Well, that's a little bit different. If you were to say, oh, she's starting to get a little bit of hair growth, I would say, well, yeah, I mean, it just depends. I mean, if we're talking about coarse hair, then 4.5 is far too young. If you're talking about some light body hair on a child, a girl or a boy, I would say, okay, that's not really an issue. Yes, genetics plays into that. But when it's coarser, all right, now we're looking at potential hormone issues. So why is it with body odor and darker or thicker hair growth? Well, now potentially we are looking at an estrogen or testosterone-based issue. This should not happen with 4.5 years old. So now we need to look at what is she being exposed to potentially that's increasing these plastics in the environment. If you're potentially using a hormone cream, could it be rubbing off on her? These are all really important things to look at because this certainly looks like a hormonal-based issue, right? I mean, for sure, maybe this is coincidence, maybe it's random, but for sure, we don't usually do hormone testing with children, but you could run that simple, you don't even have to do the thyroid adrenal hormone. You could just do the adrenal hormone, which is the stress one. And you could look at that. I think it's like $100 less at equilibriumnutrition.com. And you could just run that for estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, DHEA, and cortisol. So it's for a child, but we want to figure out why there may be this change, again, in body odor and hair growth. So we're always looking at a toxicity component from the environment, and then we're looking at potential exposure to hormones as well. And so, again, we'll cut out even the butter for right now, and we'll go from there. All right. Thanks for writing in. Paula's up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. Thank you so much for what you do, and I love listening to the Cabral concept first thing when I wake up. Thank you, Paula. It's kind of you. I don't miss one episode. My dad is 73 and has recently done a scan which showed a significant loss in bone density. He cannot walk for more than 20 meters because he feels a lot of pain. I hate seeing him like this, and the doctor said there's nothing he can do but take very strong painkillers. I know that there isn't really anything he can do because the bone mass is gone, but is there anything he can do to at least reduce the pain? Well, so here's the thing. When all you have is a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. It's a very old saying, and I think it fits the bill. So we have to understand is that you go to your PCP, because they are great at what they do, which is looking at a disease state and medicating to mask the symptoms, right? So that's where the painkillers come in. However, you should have a team. Definitely check out the podcast I did on how to assemble your health team. Because, well, let me see. I need to find this podcast for you because there's so many people that can help with this pain. First of all, you want to be able to get your dad on a good anti-inflammatory Mediterranean-based diet. I mean, that's first and foremost. Sneak in a little bit of that intermittent fasting, using proteolytic enzymes, using the wobenzym that I've spoken about before. So I've done podcasts on bromelain and turmeric, aka curcumin. I've done it on boswellia. Those are 3 great ones. Bromelain, papain, those are great enzymes. They're inside of our fluorofilm, our daily digestive enzyme. But there's wobenzym, there's boswellia, it's always a recall when I'm doing the podcast. So let me take it from the top. Turmeric, boswellia, bromelain, which is, boswellia is also called Indian frankincense that you might see it as. And then wobenzym is a great one as well. If it jogs my memory just a little bit in the show, that sometimes happens, I'll go back to that. But those are natural, healthy balancers of inflammation. And then, of course, figure out what else there is. I mean, omega-3s are going to be helpful. I can't recommend enough having your dad read The Rain Barrel Effect. It's as close to free as I could make it, and all profits go to charity. So it's not just one thing. You can't say, oh, do this one thing and you get rid of the pain. That's not how it works. Certainly, the nutritional supplements I just named are great, but you have to do the foundational as well, like the daily foundational protocol, level 2 or level 3. At 73 years old, I certainly recommend level 3. So that's where I'd read the Rain Barrel Effect, because he has to take ownership of this and start using some of the nutritional products, potentially work with an acupuncturist. And then you can definitely save your bone mass by doing enough vitamin D, good calcium, good magnesium, good vitamin K. Again, those are all inside of the daily nutritional support. You can use extra vitamin D, which you should, not mega doses though, 4 to 5,000 IUs per day, along with its cofactors. All right, let's keep it at that. So that's plenty to work on right away. And then check out the show of how to create your own health team, which is actually on episode 1616. All right, Natalie's up next. What exactly is hydroxychloroquine, and is it safe? Is it effective at preventing the virus? We need to edit that out so we don't get blocked anything more than we already are. What are the possible downsides? Will it be an effective solution to the pandemic long term? Well, so here's the thing. I answered all of these questions months ago. So I just want you to know I've been doing virus podcast updates every 2 weeks or so. I definitely answered this right from the very beginning. And it's part of the reasons why my webpage got shut down. I got blocked on YouTube, and Instagram basically took away any of my ability to boost my posts, so I wasn't able to reach a larger audience, and they started showing my post to less than 1% of my followers. So if you follow me on Instagram, you're most likely not seeing me anymore because they've basically all but blocked my posts. So let's say there's somewhere around 60,000 followers or so. I'm not big on the whole follower thing, but of course, the more people following, the more I get to spread my message and the more people I connect with, which I love. So of course I love that, but it's not something I'm like, oh, I need to get to 100,000 followers or whatever it might be. But the truth is now, out of that 60,000, they show it to less than 600 people. That's no exaggeration. So very disturbing, very, very disturbing. But I did give those answers quite a bit ago. I'm very apprehensive about giving you an answer on this because I'm in a tough situation. I'm in a very tough situation. So here's the thing. Let me give you this. This will help. I'm not giving any medical advice. I'm not a licensed medical doctor. I'm a board-certified doctor of naturopathy. And what I do is I work with people on underlying root causal health imbalances, help them replace any deficiencies they have, help them remove toxicities, and we rebalance the body. And it works really, really well. We've been doing it for many years. So I don't provide medical advice, and I do not treat, diagnose, or cure any diseases. That's why I can't give medical advice on pharmaceuticals. So all I could say is that, let's say that one of my loved ones ended up getting this particular virus, and instead of starting to get better within a couple days, I didn't see that improvement. I might suggest to them, non-medically, that they may want to use hydroxychloroquine plus azithromycin. And then, of course, I would still be doing my natural modalities as well. Vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, quercetin, and a few of the other great herbs that I recommend. So, again, that's not medical advice, but certainly that's something that I would share with my family, and I would feel very comfortable with that. Okay? Thank you, Natalie, for writing in. Patrick's up next. Hi, Dr. Ball. Hope all is well. I'm 46, and I feel like I'm in the best shape and best health since finding your podcast a few years ago. Thanks, Patrick. I think that's absolutely fantastic. And I love hearing those types of success stories. I really do. It's great to hear. 46, best shape and best health in years. So fantastic. My question is about speed and endurance. I play competitive hockey 2 days a week, but I feel like I'm losing that extra boost of speed and energy when I need it. I go to the gym 3 days a week for about 30 minutes of strength training, upper and lower body, so I don't feel it's a strength issue. I'm hoping to keep playing sports and be competitive for a long time. Thank you for all you do. Patrick, I think I have the answer for you. A good friend of mine plays in a men's hockey league. He is now about 53 years old. My brother-in-law, who's around your age, plays in a men's hockey league as well. Both very competitive and both excellent hockey players, to this day. So what we found, though, is that diet plays a big part of this. Since you're in the best shape of your life, I can only assume that you're also much leaner. And I can also then only assume that you may be eating less carbohydrates and fueling your body a little bit less, so you're in a little bit more of a catabolic-based state. So what I might suggest for you is to maybe do one extra day of cardio outside of hockey. Okay, so that will improve your overall endurance. Not just sprints. Sprints are great. Love those. But also, because hockey is predominantly sprinting up and down the ice, which is great. But do a little bit of endurance work. 1 day a week, maybe you do go for a longer run. Maybe you go for 30 minutes of running. And then on the days that you are playing hockey, I would also give yourself a little bit more carbohydrates at breakfast and lunch, because I'm assuming you're going to be playing a little later at night, which is typically when men's hockey leagues are. So Patrick, try that out. See if it's a fuel issue, not just you being 46. I really feel like I have not lost, I'm not 46 yet, but I feel like I have not lost any of my step as I've gotten older. And when I have, it has a lot of times been a little bit more catabolic, a little less fueled than I should be. So hopefully that helps, Patrick. All right, let's see. Oh, good. We still have time. Ken's up next. Hey, Dr. Cabral, what are your thoughts on frozen collagen peptides? Being a supplement junkie, I recently purchased frozen collagen peptides, and there's about 900 milligrams, each pill with 3,000 milligrams of glutathione also. I know collagen are great for your body as well as glutathione, but what are your thoughts particularly on collagen peptides and L-glutathione forms? Thank you for all the value you provide. Ken, thank you for writing in. So, a lot of times my question is this. So I know that this may not be specific to you, but I always ask why. So if you're going to take in collagen peptides, and you're going to take in glutathione, I'm just asking you why. Okay, are you taking in the collagen peptides because you want to work on your gut? Are you taking the collagen peptides because you want to help rebuild tissue in the body? Are you taking in the glutathione because you're trying to work on detoxification? What's the end goal? Because those are hefty dosages. You're probably taking quite a bit. So to me, I always ask why. Do you need that? Is there a particular detox issue that you're having? Like, are you loaded up with mercury or loaded up with aluminum or being exposed to gas fume vapors because you work in an auto body garage? Like, again, I always ask the question because there's a time and place for everything. Would I use 9,000 milligrams, which is 9 grams of collagen peptides plus 3 grams of glutathione, and that's just for one pill, on a daily basis? For me, no. You might use it for a period of 3 to 6 weeks for a very special reason and then come off. Do I think that you should be using that ongoing? Not only do I not see the need, I do, believe me, we use glutathione in my practice. I use liposomal glutathione for our mold protocol and other protocols. I use reduced glutathione at a lower dose, and you can use that on a near daily basis. We use that inside of our daily nutritional support. So I'm a fan. They're just not mega doses. So I just be careful, like putting that much in your body of one thing on a daily basis. 3 to 6 weeks, I have no problem with that at all. Ongoing, I probably can't recommend that, right? I can't. Okay, Dan's up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. About 2 years ago, I started a very strict regimen where I was doing a ketogenic diet, daily intermittent fasting, and daily steady state cardio. This initially had me feeling the best result I've ever felt in my life, both mentally and physically. Unfortunately, the results were short-lived, and after about 8 months, I started experiencing significant digestive issues, loss of sex drive, as well as depression and anxiety. This, coupled with stressful events, had me feeling like I just didn't have any gas in the tank. I had my testosterone levels checked, and it was very low. I began seeking a functional medicine doctor who found I was in phase 3 HPA axis dysfunction with very low DHEA. I had SIBO and a magnesium and potassium deficiency. I've heard you say that this is a very predictable way in which the body breaks down on a ketogenic diet. After following my doctor's supplementation regimen for about 5 months, going back to a normal diet, reducing exercise, I feel so much better, and my symptoms have, for the most part, resolved. What I can't get back to is the feeling of vitality I initially felt on the ketogenic diet. Do you have any insight into why this made me feel so good and how I can get back to that? Thanks, Dan. Dan, great question. And it's really too bad. It honestly is, because we have all these MDs, and I can't even believe that people in natural health field that fall for this as well. But that's why there's all differences, right? Like, it's like, what did you study? What did you specialize in? Medical doctors, they don't study nutrition. They obviously study the human body, and they study pharmaceuticals. And I'm not saying they're not very brilliant, and they are. What really upsets me is when I see naturopathic doctors and other people saying that ketogenic diet is the right thing to do. It's scary. It's almost like people get overzealous with the weight loss-based results that they see in the beginning. And I get it. Like, listen, you're going to be lean on a low-carb diet. It works. Bodybuilders have known this forever. I started doing it in my early 20s when I started working out with bodybuilders and learning it, and it worked. So it's not like it does not work. We do it as part of our Fatlocity system. We do it as part of our functional medicine detox. But then what we do is we very strategically begin to add those carbohydrates back into the diet, because we know in the long term it's so detrimental to your autonomic nervous system, your overall central nervous system, and the overall catabolic nature of the body that it starts to shift into. So in the very beginning, you are typically, not always, but you are oftentimes moving more towards a fight or flight, sympathetic nervous system dominant, catabolic-based nature in the body. So what happens is, well, you feel like you're amphetamines. You feel like you're on speed, essentially, and you get that drug-like feeling. Nobody should search for that. What you're looking for is natural energy without the anxious energy, without that anxious high that a lot of people get. And you can get that. I mean, so that's the thing. And Dan, I'm not going to pick on you. So what I want people to understand is this. They've heard me talk about this since the beginning. I've never wavered because I have no dogma. That's really, I really want people to understand. I have no dog in the race. I don't care which diet is best. I don't care which lab is best. None of that matters to me. What matters is your health, my family's health, my health. I have no allegiance to any company, to any brands. Yes, I formulate my own, of course. I love those because I formulated them. They're exactly what I want them to be. But I also name many other great companies. I just named Wobenzyme, earlier for the person with a joint pain. So I just do what I feel is the right thing to do for people. And the right thing to do for people is not give them short-term results to their detriment in the long term. Now, Dan, my recommendation is that I know that you're working with your functional medicine doctor, but begin to look into the protocols that I've talked about, since I do hope that you trust me now. And sometimes this happens, right? Because you tried it and you felt those initial results and then you went downhill. And again, I said that that's predictable. And I say this from a non-ego-based perspective. It's just, I've been doing this for a while. All I do is read and study, so it's like, that's what I do. That's what I'm here for. And I take the best of all forms of medicine. So there's not one form of medicine that's best. So get onto our daily foundational protocol, right? Begin to use our advanced collagen support. Begin to use our immunity protocol. Begin to use our, all of these different things that we recommend. The daily foundational protocol, the advanced collagen support, and adding in the immunity protocol. I mean, again, Dan, I'm not prescribing anything. I'm not giving you treatment-based protocols. But if you did those things, maybe even the detox to start, 7-day, then the daily foundation protocol, level 2 or level 3, the immunity protocol, and the advanced collagen support, I mean, I think you're probably going to be feeling fantastic. I really do. So I don't know if that was tough love or not, but Dan, I know where you're coming from, and I want to help you, and I want to give you that natural vitality, that natural high that everyone should have, but not the anxious high, not the, the body's all revved up because it's essentially teetering in a glucogenic-based response all the time because it's always searching for, where's the glucose? Where's the glucose? Oh, we don't have any. Okay, let's start breaking down liver glycogen. Oh, we don't have any. So what are we going to do? Well, let's start breaking down muscle tissue, or let's start shutting down hormone response. I mean, that's not what we want, right? So, Dan, thank you for writing in. Thank you for allowing me to rant to end the show here today. There'll be more rants tomorrow, I'm sure. I appreciate every single one of your listens, your downloads, and your shares. And so, as I always say, please do feel free to share it with anyone you believe it could serve. And I'll talk with you tomorrow. Take care. Before you go, I wanted to share a personal story with you. The real reason I began to get well finally is because I figured out what was wrong with me. And that might seem pretty obvious, but I went from doctor to doctor for over 2 years before discovering at-home functional medicine lab testing. These are the labs that enabled me to finally figure out what was wrong with my hormones, blood sugar, electrolytes, and gut health. And once I knew what was wrong, I could then follow a proven plan in order to rebalance my body from the inside out. This is why I believe so strongly in functional medicine lab testing and why I've made it my mission to share these labs with the world. Now at equa.life, you can order an at-home lab test or lab bundle for you and your family and be able to complete it within the week. Plus, the EquaLife difference is that you're not left to try to read and figure out these labs on your own. We explain what your lab numbers mean, what they mean in the much bigger picture, and then how to go about rebalancing your body in order to heal. To see our full selection of lab tests, or to set up a free lab selection call to find out what labs may be best for you, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. And do remember, we ship these all over the world. To find out more and to set up your free lab selection call, simply head on over to equi.life/labs. That's EQUI.LIFE/labs.